enough on research and development. Let's go across to our panelists this evening and get their thoughts. This is a constructive chat that we're going to have. So, and we've got some really well-meaning individuals who are all achievers in their own spheres, who all want the nation to progress. And I'm very happy that they have agreed to join us again. Pankaj M. Munjal, CMD Hero Cycles. Munjalji, thank you so much, Pankajji. Thank you so much. Sanjay Bhatia, President FICCI and CM SME, and also the Managing Director of Hindustan Tin Works. I was speaking to these gentlemen. It was a very abridged conversation last evening, and I requested them to join us this evening. They have kindly consented. Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, he's been regularly with us and he's been making very constructive suggestions, a lot of which we see in the government's policy and the road ahead. President NAREDCO and ASSOCHAM, Chairman, of course, Rajya Sabha MP of the BJP, National Spokesperson, GVL Narasimha Rao. Good evening to all of you. I'm going to start with Pankaj Munjalji this evening, then Sanjay Bhatia, then Dr. Hiranandani, and then GVL Narasimha Rao. One by one, the focus areas, idea to implementation, how difficult it is, how critical it is. Mr. Munjal, with you.
So, in continuation to yesterday, like this large number has come, 10% GDP. So, it's come basically in two forms. One, like you said earlier, liquidity, so companies can leverage and then they can tide over this crisis. And the second is small and medium-sized sector. So like I said yesterday, this is very good. This liquidity can go down to the SME and go down to the labor. Now this is large number. We talk of hundreds of million people in this way. So I think the government's done a great job in doing this. When they get employed, they also become consumers. So there'll be a consumer-led demand too. Now, as I was saying yesterday, that it's a good scheme on paper. How does it get its feet on the ground? It's got to be a secure loan. Now, that SME, he is one cog in a wheel. The whole wheel consists of tier 2 supplier, tier 1, logistics partner, dealer, transporter, the whole thing. He can excel only in one. So if he goes to the bank and he says, give me so much loan, I want to be, competitive. That is not complete. He's got to be part of the full supply chain. So like I said yesterday, this is a chance for us to make it. This COVID has given us a tilt or, like a push to really go from this globalization to localization, make in India, buy in India, like the Chinese did and the US is doing. This is the time to use this in a cluster. What the Chinese did was they put all these small scale sectors and one OE and made a cluster. That became center of excellence. Now when he goes to the bank, then he will give the whole supply chain and say, this is the plan. It is secure. The bank money, it's big money. The funds that are allocated, they've come mainly in form of loans. Now if that loan is defaulted, it's a big risk. So we should not be deferring this thing and saying 6 months later, hey, what did we do? So if we can, without a cluster, this will run into a big risk. So let's build like China, what they did, or whatever.
If I may ask you. Please. Please complete. Then I'll ask my question. Sorry, we have a delay between each other, so we'll have to work with each other on this. Sorry, go ahead.
So what I was wondering, like what I was looking at, we've grown up, did schooling in America and college there, and we learned this globalization. NAFTA was born, SAARC was born, Southeast Asia was born, eastern part of Africa, they got born. Now we see localization. What we hear, US, they want to build tariffs. The visas are getting cut. So the recovery will be more of now domestic. So India can make this chance to emerge as a global and the local supply chain, local make and local supply chain. This is what I visualize. This is what we can go forward.
Fantastic. So I'm going to ask, and I'm just going to take this forward to your good friend Sanjay Bhatia, who's also President FICCI and CMSME, and say if somebody like who's one of India's largest cycle and bike manufacturers can procure everything indigenously in the case of Hero Motors, and how much of an industry is that going to push forth? And can we look at this cluster model? Sanjay ji, do you agree with Mr. Munjal? Let's take this forward.
I totally agree with what Pankaj has said, because there is a need to focus on cluster-based approach, like we have textile in Surat or leather in Chennai. So there is a need to really look at developing India based on maybe one product, one region. I think the Chief Minister just before that talked about it. So there has to be, and even Honorable Finance Minister talked about it today, about mango, turmeric, saffron and honeybee and all those things. I think the Indian strength, we really need to see what is the strength of India. I think it's the medicinal, herbal and all those products which we have to see, where we say that we local products we develop for the global markets. I think that something is very, very important. That is one. Second is the if you see India is a consuming economy and agrarian economy. It's important that the total agri and food product trade worldwide is about, what I understand, is about $1,300 billion. And India has a share of only $30 billion. So I think we are just 0.5% of this trade. We talk about that we are the largest dairy manufacturer, second largest vegetable, second largest so and so. I think there's a huge potential there. I think that is one part of the agriculture focus, sectoral focus, and develop them and see that how we can make India brand popular and make Indian products. Second is the MSME. I think that's something which we call as engine of growth. I think that is where we have to really see the technological advancement, what we can bring it there, promote skill development so that they can adopt such technology, R&D support infrastructure to be provided for the sector. Let us incentivize those companies which can produce products which can substitute imports. I think because today our exports is $300 billion while import is about $450 billion. So there is a balance of trade against us. So we really need to see how we can incentivize MSME sector, small and medium sector, who can really push all these things. Now, the one, of course, is the, we talked about interest-free, collateral-free loan. But second is the compliances, reducing compliances. Give free time to the industry to work so that they can focus more on production, productivity, and improvement on that. So these are my initial comments.
True. No, let me just quickly ask you this. And from there, from your answer, I'll take it across to Dr. Hiranandani and then bring in GVL Narasimha Rao, who can then respond to what your observations are. Labor laws, how critical is that? Because now we are seeing, earlier in the day I was speaking to Mahesh Gupta ji of Kent RO Systems, and he was saying that उनकी फैक्ट्री में permission दे दिया 500 लोगों के साथ काम करने के लिए, requirement 1000 की है, but workers सिर्फ 400 हैं, because the workers who are there, who are about 30-40 kilometers away, can't come to work. Some of them have gone back to their respective area of domicile or homes, and they don't want to, they are not accessible now. He said that, okay, now if I can create a small township with my next factory that I put on private land, I can build residentials on PPP basis. It's a good way forward. But he also hinted on labor laws, making these labor laws easy, allowing staff to work 12 hours, lesser number of these. We have 44 central laws, 200 relative laws. All sometimes contradict each other. Some states are doing away, giving 1000-day exemptions, etc. Are you for all of this?
You are asking me or Mr. Hiranand?
Yeah, Sanjay ji, quick follow-up question to you, and then I'll take it across to Dr. Hiranandani. Yeah.
I totally agree with Mr. Mahesh Gupta, what he said on the labor laws. These are the complex labor laws. I think the ministry, the government is already working on the labor codes. So they are bringing 4 labor codes, and out of this, 1 is already there. I think they are already working on that. But question is, it should not be cut and paste of what we already have. This should be totally written from like a blank page, and it should be 4, 5, 7 pages of the labor law. That's it. So that it's simple to understand. and easy to operate. Now, what he said about the availability of the people, we also have similar issues in our factory. Where we have a permission for more than 500 people, but we just have only we just have only 400. So, point at that too over a period. For the last 1.5 months, we come in essential commodity as a packaging material, but we were only 200, now we have reached 400. Only why it happened is because workers were not coming because there was an assurance given to them that salary would be paid. So they know that why should we go to factory and work there? So I think these are the certain things which need to be addressed, and these are important. The labor laws certainly needs an immediate attention.
True, and somewhere there has to be a cutoff saying that beyond this point, if you're called to work and you don't respond, then it is up to the employer to decide. There be a leave without pay if you don't show up for work. Dr. Hiranandani, your thoughts, sir? Good evening to you. Thank you very much for consenting and joining us. I have to say that. Always wonderful to have you with us.
In the last 2 years, there has been a flood of companies leaving China in the textile industry. Unfortunately, not a single one came to India. They went to Bangladesh, they went to Vietnam, they went to Sri Lanka, but they did not come to India. So that's the first point. Because the ease of doing business in India is not there, irrespective of what we say, we need to do further. And number two, the labor laws. I'm glad that the labor laws are being looked into, and that will make a world of a difference. But we really want to draw people into the country. I think both these things have to be put together, and then only we can make a lot of difference to it. There are 42 companies which want to leave China at this point of time. 23 want to go to Vietnam, and only 2 are looking at India with great amount of interest. Now we got to reverse this trend. So all the factors that we talked about just now, which is labor laws as well as the ease of doing business in manifold ways, needs to be done on the ground, especially the retrospective effect with which our income tax and other rules and regulations are being formulated by the government. So it's not just one factor which impedes people to come to India. That was the first thing I want to say. The second, on the agriculture change that has taken place, I think it's a wonderful thing. If you remember 1975, we had a food problem, and we changed the entire policies of India, and we revolutionized food in India, and we had the agricultural revolution. It is my belief that if all the things that they have put in together in the policies today done and announced by the finance minister is actually implemented on the ground, I promise you we will have a second agricultural revolution, and that will be a fantastic thing for India, both for the farmers as well as the entire economy as well as employment. Look at the value proposition that we bring. When you sell a plain tomato, or you sell a potato, or you sell any other item of food, or you give a value proposition of a processed product that you do at the ground level, or you see to it that the farmer is able to get good pricing, whether contractual or otherwise in advance, all these are being visualized as far as the policy is concerned. Of course, the states have a big role to play in this whole act. But the groundswell is created. There is a thought process put into each and every aspect of it. Like you mentioned just now about the cluster approach, and the idea is that similar to what is happening in China and other countries, I think important factor that we need to do. The second most important thing is the factor which we have said is infrastructure. See, we have already got roads now going up to the last village. So that has already happened. We are now talking about water to come to that location. Now what we are saying is that all the other gaps in infrastructure are needed to be completed. Like the cold chain, like the fisheries chain, like all the other items, whatever are the gaps are sought to be completed. Of course, we in industry need to see we are proactive and take full advantage of the factor and see to it that our processing is also done completely in order to make it an enabler. The last part which I want to mention is about the migrant labor. The migrant labor, lots of things have been thought about giving food, by giving shelter, and all these other things that have been thought across. But I'm highly critical of the fact that we did nothing while they walked meters to their homes and houses. And I think that is something you need to compensate that immediately, whether it's money, whether it's any other way, in terms of Manrega, jobs, whatever it is. I think special care needs to be taken of the migrant labor and the confidence to bring them back into industry and business, because they are scared, they are worried. Can you imagine something like that? Your jobs have gone, but you were not getting food, and on top of it, you wanted to go home. Other people have been brought by airplanes, but when they wanted to go back, we didn't have transport to get them back to their houses within our country. So I think that segment really needs to take care and full empathy. Though disclosed in the mention of the finance minister, I think there was a lot of empathy in terms of the bottom of the pyramid, both in terms of the labor and the other categories and the farming segment, and all that was all there. But actually, I think something more on implementation that is lacking in many respects. And I think if we got implementation with the kind of policy announced, we would make a great deal in this story today.
How much of it gets implemented? I think GVL, everything is boiling down to that. And here on the right stand, we've, Trivendra Rawat spoke about, at the local levels. Mr. Munjal spoke about clusters. And we've said, why can't we break down India into 6,600 blocks? Look at the capability in each block, each region, and try and develop those capabilities specific to that particular region and that particular area. And then can we have these clusters? GVL, respond. Implementation is key. Can we get the implementation right? Because we'll have to get many things right at the same time.
Anand,
thank you for your patience.
Yeah, you have three distinguished panelists from the industry. Each one of them made certain observations, but I would have liked them to comment on the contents of the announcements in the last 3 days. And I can tell you, this is certainly, most of these announcements have certainly met with their expectations, and some may have even surpassed their expectations. So certainly the government has done a great deal by listening to all the voices from across the spectrum, industry, agriculture, and has come up with a slew of initiatives. Let me start with what Mr. Hira Nandani, the last panelist, said. I think in terms of infrastructure today, 1 lakh crore fund has been created to create farm gate infrastructure. This will certainly result in huge construction of huge creation of warehouses, cold storages, which will certainly improve our ability to really. It will help the farmers to get better price for their farm produce. And we certainly we are looking at moving farmers from grain-based agriculture to mostly to let's say fruits and vegetables and dairying and other animal husbandry activities, and including fisheries, because they will certainly get much greater returns for their efforts than what they will get in continuing to be a grain-based economy. And on migrant labor, I think there are a lot of misconceptions. Let me make it clear. There are 1,200 trains standing to transport migrant labor. And it's only, if 2 states want to transport 1,000 people or 1,100 people, a train can be arranged in 3 hours' time, in just 3 hours. So if any of our panelists know where migrant labor are stranded, and if they can speak to both the states, which I am doing as an individual, as an MP, I'm trying to facilitate in many places. If you know such examples, kindly speak to both the states. A train will be available to transport them in just 3 hours. So we are ready, but state governments are wary of receiving them.
Well, I think we've just lost GVL there. The issue is not about readiness. The issue is about what is happening on ground. Sorry, GVL, I lost your audio there. It was for a bit. The critical aspect, GVL, is the migrants. I don't want to call them migrants. The Shramiks, the workers, they've just gotten into a phase where they just want to get back home. No matter what, no matter how. So if it's a truck, it's a truck. If it's an auto, it's an auto. If it's a bus, it's a bus. They just don't want to wait. Bas ghar pahunchna hai. That's the whole thing. I have limited time, so I'm just going to circle back to Mr. Munjal and ask him this.
So, as an Indian, and I would with all the conviction in my command. I think the society, the industry, the employers, the contractors, they all have, I think, committed. Certainly, they have not lived up to what they are expected to do. I think it's principally it is the state governments which have to look after them. But as a society, I think we have failed. And I would like, honestly, I'm not blaming anybody.
Sure.
I would like the businesses to think about this. People are desperate to go. They are walking across miles, hundreds of miles, because they have lost faith, not in governments, because governments never fed them. They continued to live in the places out of their own choice because they were involved in economic activity. And when the economic activity stalled because of lockdown, which was necessary as a health emergency, I think a lot of people really simply delinked with them. No support system was provided.
So I think,
they were
GVL, I think everybody, my point is, I'll tell you what, GVL. I'll tell you what, GVL. GVL, here, everybody was caught unaware. Everybody was caught unawares as far as this entire pandemic. But I think everybody has learned a lesson. The biggest mistake all of us are making is, if they are the backbone to our production capacities, our industriousness, if they were the backbone for our cities and our own areas functioning, then why are they being treated and thought of like outsiders? The fact that we are calling them migrants in our own country is a statement of it underlines the fact that they were never treated as they were never made to feel at home. If they were not able to feel at home at a place where they were earning their livelihood, that means they were there only because they were making their ends meet. So I think the policy making thought process, I'm in all humility only saying, at every level, we have to decide. This one nation, one ration card is perhaps one of the first steps where we all look at Bharat as Bharat, not as each individual state. कि लेबर बिहार से आएगा, इंडस्ट्री महाराष्ट्र में होगी, इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट जो है वो किसी दूसरे स्टेट से होगा, और फिर हर किसी को जैसे ये होगा तो तुम्हारा तुम देखो, हमारा हम देखें. That cannot be the attitude going forward. I have limited time, so I have to wind up with the promise that I will request all our panelists very, very soon to join us back again to take this conversation forward as far as what next is concerned in the coming days. In all humility, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I have to wind up. I have a time constraint at my end. I have to wind up. I thank you all for taking the time out and giving us such very, very constructive suggestions. And let's hope that the government responds and the people on ground also respond with a very good implementation, because idea can be fantastic, but it's of no use till the time we get the implementation right. That's important. Thank you so much. We're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we will hit the right note with a very, very talented father-son duo this Friday evening. Stay with us.